welcome to Perspective. As we get closer to the day of the elections, February 8th, we'll be talking about Bilawal Bhutto's confrontationary style of politics versus perhaps a more cautionary one when we look at Shehbaz Sharif Saab, when he says that as far as Bilawal Bhutto Zardari is concerned, whatever mandate comes through, they will accept it. And as far as politics is concerned, praising him as a good minister during the PDM government. We'll be talking about the manifestos as given by both political parties. We don't have a formal one from the PMLN yet, but it seems that there is a clear decision as to which direction both parties are choosing to go. As far as Bilawal Bhutto is concerned, he's talking about development, he's talking about more jobs, he's talking about, but it's unclear how he plans on bringing those changes, whether those are really needed for the kind of politicking that invariably happens before the elections. But of course, a real plan is something that the voters would ideally be looking for. We'll be talking about all of this as, of course, the campaigns continue to pick up. We're looking at more jalsas, we are looking at more campaigning, more rallies across the board, and of course, the concentration as far as Punjab is concerned. And what we can expect from both major political parties as far as PTI is concerned. Of course, we are looking at perhaps social media campaigning rather than more on the ground one. And of course, we'll be talking about whether that can have the kind of results that any party ideally wants, and of course the day of the elections, the importance of that, and also a little bit about the role that this election invariably will involve independent candidates, how much of them, and to what end they can work towards forming government as we get to that stage, of course. All of that today on Perspective. I have with me today Naveed Aman, who's a political analyst. Thank you for being with us today. We have with us Daniyal Sheikh, who's also a political analyst. Thank you for being with us. We'll be joined by other guests also a little later on. Naveed Saab, like we were earlier also talking about, as far as the PPP is concerned and Bilawal Bhutto is concerned, of course, there's a clear manifesto there in the field. But there isn't really any, we don't know how he plans to bring about those changes. And of course, in the current climate, as far as our economy is concerned, as far as the overall position is concerned, it's unclear. How is he going to bring those changes?
In fact, politicians always make lofty claims and they give a very gloomy picture to the masses. They give very colorful picture to the masses, but when the time comes, they could not in past they could not fulfill their promises, and those unmatched promises really bounced back. In the case of Nawaz Sharif, in his last comment, when he made that lofty claim that he will open that case against a former dictator, and when he will come to power, he will bring him to the court of justice. When he came in power, he had to bring him court of justice, and that really bounced back. So, in PTI government, lastly, the former chairman PTI, he made very, very big claims of providing more than 5 million jobs or houses and 10 million jobs or many other things. And out of all those claims, he could not even materialize any one. This time, Bilawal is making those sort of lofty claims once again. But I don't think he will be in the position, if he comes in the power, he will be in the position to bring.
I want to talk more about this. I'm going to include Daniyal Saab also in this. Daniyal Saab, to what extent do you think the voter today is going to be swayed by this politicking, this rhetoric, the lofty claims, as Naveed Saab is saying? And to what extent do you think the voter today is perhaps saying that how is this going to happen? Do you think that there is that cognizance that this questioning in the voter today, or no?
As far as PMLN is concerned, and their voters are very much clear about, because PMLN has been in public service for more than 40 years now, and they have a trajectory of delivering when it comes to infrastructure, when it comes to trade, when it comes to commerce. And I believe that their voters will again vote for them considering these factors rather than, obviously the dictators issue, like Mr. Aman said, it was something that they promised, but once coming into power, I believe that they felt that now they have a greater responsibility than to settle personal vengeances and personal scores.
But as far as Bilawal Bhutto Zardari is concerned, he's trying to tap into the vote bank of the PMLN also, it seems, and also the PTI, because he's talking about workers, he's talking about certain respect for women. We've seen the recent claims. How successful do you think he's going to be? Because there is, of course, there's a voter who's quite sure where he's going, but there's also an undecided voter. And I think there's a sizable portion of that today. Do you agree?
Well, the thing with People's Party is they've always tried to patronize the voters they've always tried to play with their emotions. And I don't think they'll succeed this time because they're an incumbent government. They just stepped out of government. So the people have seen what they have delivered, and their deliverance, unfortunately, has not been up to the mark.
But the PMLN was also, its BDM has been an amalgamation of 11 parties.
No, I'm not talking about the federal government. I'm talking about the Sindh government, which was basically the best metric to judge People's Party. It was an independent government. And as far as their governance in Sindh was concerned, it's been, it's not too, I cannot appreciate it. No one can appreciate it. And as far as PMLN is concerned, if you judge them from 2008, they changed the entire Punjab, the infrastructure they built, the road network they built, all the development they did. So they're going to bank on that. Because People's Party does not have something of that on the table, so they're probably just going to bank on the fact that criticize your opponents.
Fair enough. Naveed sir, you think that's going to happen? You think that undecided voter, it's going to matter what a politician like Bilawal Bhutto Zardari is saying to the undecided voter, or no?
It will. But what Bilawal in fact desires, he wants to gain that lost popularity of vote bank, which was once the asset of People's Party in Punjab. Now, those electables or the heavyweights who left People's Party and joined PTI in the last regime, they afterwards, before this election, the same electables left PTI and they did not go back to People's Party. Also, they joined two other parties, IPP and People's PTI parliamentarians. Bilawal is struggling for the re-emergence of the People's Party in Punjab. For that purpose, he is struggling hard to make that momentum of electoral process, which we could not see till the 2 weeks are away from the elections, and still the momentum is not on that level, which is the ritual of politics of Pakistan.
But is it really like, I want to include Abid Abbasi sahab also in this discussion. Abid sahab, do you think overall the momentum now, as we compare it to the elections before, is there a certain, that of course now we are getting to that perhaps stage where things are getting, one can say maybe things are heating up to a certain extent. But is it still, is there still things are, relatively, we see a certain reticence, lukewarm, there isn't that kind of warmth, there isn't that kind of, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'll let you answer that.
Thank you very much, Marukh. Yes, we haven't seen that much momentum so far, which we have been, seeing previously in elections in Pakistan. But even then, because we all know that there were so many sort of, eyebrows were raised against this, either the elections are going to be held or not. There were so many ifs and buts, so many, sort of rumors around in the capital. But eventually, thanks God that the nation is in the election mode and the elections are going to be held. But still, we haven't seen that. For particularly, the PMLN, that was the major player in this election, they have not created that much momentum because Mian Nawaz Sharif has, addressed only one public gathering so far. Contrary to that, Pakistan People's Party, the Bilawal Bhutto Zardari, where we all know that in previous elections, 2018, all impartial analysts were of the view that Bilawal Bhutto Zardari has launched a very rigorous campaign starting from Sindh. He entered into Punjab, and his public gatherings, and he was talking about his manifesto. He has used a very least sort of rhetoric and accusation against his political
But
opponents.
he is
More
now doing
focused-
it, isn't he?
He is doing that. This is something very much a phenomena in Pakistani politics, but without accusing your opponents, people do not get that much satisfied
But do
from
you
their
think
leaders.
Abid
But
Abbasi-
even then, his political campaign is much mature as compared to other political
But
leaders.
isn't it
before him.
true that Abid Sahib, there is, he's very much, I mean, what it will go against him, that he was very much a part of the PDM. He was a minister in this government, and for now to take a step back and say that, he's criticizing PMLN. But there's a lot of social media now in this age where we can actually go back and see. Of course, in politics, today's friends are yesterday's foes are today's friends, and all of that is true to a certain extent. But now that there is so much social media, is it going to be harder to perhaps sway the voter? What do you think?
You are right to a great extent, because he was part and parcel, his party was part and parcel of the PDM governments of 18 months, which was not in fact a successful
And
government.
Shahbaz Sharif Sahib, by the way, is praising him. He's saying, oh, he was a good minister, he did a good job, which shows a kind of largesse, I think, on his part.
Without accusing PMLN in Punjab, Bilawal cannot get good space what he is thinking for his party. But if we talk about his performance to the peoples in Pakistan People's Party, or for that matter Bilawal Bhutto Zardari, the way he is conducting interviews and the mainstream media, he is of the view that he was foreign minister and he is responsible for the deeds, for the actions, what he has done during his 18 months as the foreign minister. But the more focus he is giving to his performance in Sindh province, his government in Sindh province, what he is saying that he has started about 2 million houses for the the flood-ridden people in the province. He is talking about the NICVD, the health sector's reforms and health sector mega projects in province of Sindh. He is talking about third, what they have done, according to them, what they have achieved in the province of Sindh. He is talking much about that, and he is talking on the basis of those 2 million houses, he is claiming to construct more 3 million houses
But
for
how?
the people of Pakistan.
But he's not clear as to how it's going to happen.
He is giving some justification for the funds. He's saying about 17 ministries, 318 billion rupees. What he is saying are being wasted by the elitist of this country, elitist class of this country. That could be spent on the people of Pakistan.
We don't have a formal manifesto from the PMLN yet, Naveed Sahib, but as I understand, probably on the 27th they're saying they will be unveiling it. But as compared to what Maryam Nawaz is saying when she, is addressing jalsas, because we all saw, we've seen the former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif Sahib only address one. But her rhetoric is also, it's quite, what she's saying is quite clear. She's saying that, look at our past performance, look at what we did, and, what the former Prime Minister led governments have done for Pakistan. And based on that performance, judge us for what we can do for you. So in that sense, it's very clear, what the PMLN's manifesto is going to be. As far as this manifesto of PPP is concerned, do you think that we also look back at, the tall claims that came from, the earlier government led by PTI, when so many jobs had to be created, so much had to be done, and that didn't translate. So we need, of course, there to be a concrete plan for the people of Pakistan that they feel can probably be followed and will be followed by the next
Absolutely
government.
right. Marukh, People's Party leader Bilawal Bhutto is in Punjab now. He is focusing Punjab very much. Yes, if he is focusing and he is demanding for votes from the masses, he will have to prove what he has or his party has delivered in Sindh province. If you compare Ladkana as their main station, or Ladkana is like Lahore for the PMLN. PMLN has made Lahore Ladkana, or Ladkana could be made Lahore. I mean, Ladkana itself speaks a lot
For what?
for many reasons. the development of Lahore is different, or the development of Nawab Shah and Ladkana is different.
How do you think he's going to be doing he's also contesting from Lahore, and it's against I think Ata Tarid, and how do you think that itself, I'm going to include Daniyal Sahib in this. Daniyal Sahib, how do you think that contest, with the background of what Naveed Sahib is saying, of course, their hold as far as the PPP is concerned is of course traditionally Sindh. But this foray into Punjab, there have been, has been for months. I think there have been attempts by the PPP leadership to perhaps, make inroads in Punjab. How successful do you think they will be?
I don't think they will be successful.
Okay.
And the way Aman Sahib just said that their performance in Sindh has not been up to the mark, satisfactory. Having said that, the question that you asked before, why is the environment still lukewarm? One of the reasons for that, I personally think, is that, see, in democracy, election is the ultimate metric to judge the incumbent government. Over here, there's a government that was in power for 18 months, and then there was a government that was in power for almost 3.5 years. So the people are a bit confused. Who are they holding accountable? As far as the other, the thing that Abbasi Sahib said regarding why Nawaz Sharif has not been seen in public is, one of the reasons that I personally think is that the amount of pressure that he was under in giving tickets, because PMLN being the leading horse in Punjab, every electable wanted to be in its camp. So that was one of the reasons why they weren't able to do this before. And now that this thing is done, now they're going to focus on their manifesto and they're going to focus on mobilizing their voters. And as far as new voters are concerned, I don't think for a political party that has been in power before, it's easy to gather new voters through popular politics. The only thing is to mobilize their existing vote bank, and PMLN will be able to do that. As far as People's Party is concerned, I don't think, because especially when they were in power in 5 years during Gilani Saab's time, everyone in Punjab, their workers especially, felt that this is a Sindh-based party. And if you look at the macro politics, today People's Party is just an ethnic Sindh-based party. And this, I think, is because so many times they played the Sindh card that now the people of Punjab refuse to give it any ownership.
Do you think that's true, Abid Sahib, to a certain extent maybe, but do you think that, as far as the PPP is concerned, their vote bank, they want to, of course, concentrate as far as Bilawal Bhutto Zardari to contest from Lahore. It's also, that attempt to channelize perhaps that voter that they feel may not be satisfied with the PTI, for example, and perhaps is looking for, options there.
We know that a large number of electables and large number of the horses within Pakistan People's Party, they switched over to PTI in, from 2013 to 2018, when PTI was in making by some powerful segments of our country. So this is one aspect that People's Party is trying to get that vote bank back, or get those electables back, or get those momentum back. Secondly, what People's Party or intelligentsia within People's Party is of the view, particularly in Punjab, that PMLN is a traditional rival of Pakistan People's Party. And what PMLN has done with the People's Party, they are not satisfied with that. They are of the view that Charter of Democracy was not, in a true literal spirit, was adopted by PMLN during their power. Secondly, the politics of reconciliation initiated by President Zardari when he was in the office, the Punjabi Jala of Pakistan People's Party is not very much happy with that. They were of the view that this is a classical, contest between Pakistan People's Party and PMLN in Punjab. The new phenomena of PTI, when that was forced to emerge in Punjab, I must say this, that was maneuvered, that was supported by the state, and that was a new scenario within Pakistan. And perhaps Zardari Sahib, for that matter, he has not, launched a good campaign in Punjab from 2013 elections. We should remember that there were serious threats to the progressive political parties in Pakistan, particularly Pakistan People's Party and ANP and MQM. For they were not allowed, but they were threatened by the extremist elements or those terrorists not to launch their campaign. And People's Party did not launch its campaign, and this threat was not merely a myth or merely a threat for Pakistan People's Party. Their leader was, slain in Rawalpindi openly in a public jalsa. So that pressure was there on Pakistan People's Party. They did not launch their campaign. But we cannot say that People's Party is completely washed out from Punjab. We know that Pakistan People's Party has secured some votes from many pockets for that matter in southern Punjab. They have their support base.
But maybe not this, I mean, when we talk about Punjab, for example, maybe not this election, but, as for the future.
The way Bilawal Bhutto Zardari is trying, being a young chap, being a young leader of that party, and we should remember that in Sindh, what we have seen, some developments in Sindh for health sector, as Sheikh Sahib has said, Daniyal Sheikh Sahib has said that, and earlier Naveed Sahib has also pointed out that Ladkana cannot be compared with Lahore. Definitely, Ladkana cannot be compared with Lahore, but we should know that before that, the huge amounts of Punjab, the southern Punjab is, accusing PMLN that they have spent hefty amounts in the city of Lahore, and for that, if we compare Pakistan People's Party with the other areas of Sindh, they have given uniform development, whatever they have done in Sindh. For instance, the Gambit Institute, that is the only health sector institute in Pakistan where robotic surgeries are being carried out. There are so many state-of-the-art modern health machineries are being used. NICVD, the 4 NICVD hospitals.
You think the new voter is going to be swayed by the old rhetoric, or they're going to be needing more?
But when the young educated people, because I also a university teacher, I used to see the opinion of the young people there. If we compare a huge number of youth that is still,
undecided
on the side of with the former PTI chairman. But when they compare rest of the politicians, their inclination is towards Bilawal Bhutto Zardari, because so far he has not given that. But it was given a portfolio of foreign minister. The way he has conducted that portfolio, he conducted interviews with the international media. The way he has attracted the attention of the global donors for the, we know that about 30 million people in Sindh, they were affected by the flood that was the worst in the kind of,
Sir, it is true, but the voter wants deliverance for himself, for herself. They don't pay attention towards your work as foreign minister. They pay attention to your work which you have delivered
on the ground. What's happened on the ground
to different cities.
They attracted what they get from that. But there are so many charismatic kind of things which are being seen by the young people. What the former PTI chairman, he has not done nothing. He has done nothing, but he was attracted by so many kind of speeches, so kind of actions, and his body and his physical attraction and blah blah blah. I'm saying in that way, the way Bilawal has conducted, the young people are attracted towards him.
Marukh, with due respect, Abid Sahib, by the way, is my teacher as well. Abid Sahib, the argument that he gave in favor of PPP was that in the 2008 election, they weren't able to campaign because their leader was assassinated and they were facing sheer threat, which is true. But that was the only election in which they were able to perform in Punjab. And that's enough to tell you that People's Party has always relied on public sentiment. They have always played to the galleries and they've always made commitments which they weren't able to fulfill. As far as election campaign is concerned, or big jalsas are concerned, or gathering a lot of people is concerned, for a party that has already been in power more than once, I don't think this is even necessary, nor is a written manifesto. As far as PMLN's manifesto is concerned, I can tell you it's going to focus on CPAC, it's going to focus on trade. It's going to be no different from the past history that they've had.
That is what they're saying actually. They're saying that it's about the development
they've
done on the motorways and the infrastructure that they've built, on the economy that they said CPEC that was on
present to the masses.
If you would allow me to elaborate a bit,
please.
When the M2 motorway was criticized a lot from People's Party and other parties that why are they building a new road, whereas they can fix the existing GT road and we can reach Lahore 100 kilometers before. The argument that PMLN gave at that time was they want to link those cities coming on the way, like for example Sargodha division is the largest citrus producing zone. After the motorway, within 2 hours your oranges and lemons can reach the Lahore dry port, and from there within 2 hours they can reach Dubai and other countries. So they've always focused on exports they've always focused on, and like infrastructure is concerned. As far as
Can you compare an export, of Pakistan People's Party's tenure? I'm not, by the way, we're
not defending any party.
People's Party's spokesperson, but if we compare the exports during Pakistan People's Party's tough tenure, that was 2018, that was much better than any other political party's government in Pakistan. Either it was PTI, either it was PMLN.
But there is, as far as when we look at the voter at this time, there are main political parties. If we look at the PMLN, the PPP, they're talking about development, they're talking about what they will do. There's also a segment of, the population as far as a third party is concerned. There's a lot of polarization. They're focusing on change as far as change of the status quo is concerned. Naveed Sahab, how do you look at that? Is that going to resonate with the voter at all?
It was very good opportunity for PTI to become an alternative political party and emerge itself as a big political force during 2018 to this time. But that chance and that opportunity was lost, and the PTI chairman, former PTI chairman or the founder, he could not materialize that chance. And he could have delivered in a positive way, in a constructive way, in a better way, better than the PMLN, better than the People's Party.
And also there's a part of, there's a voter who's going to be looking at, what they've done in the past. That's also very,
Definitely, the voter, focuses on the deliverance of the political party, what PTI has delivered, what PMLN has delivered, and what People's Party has delivered. So, keeping that in mind, the leaders, they can deceive, but the voter cannot be deceived. If you just beat about the bush, you can just find that opportunity. But the voter knows everything. The voter knows what is the health conditions in Punjab and in Sindh, in KP and in Balochistan, what are the education conditions, status, what is the poverty level, what is the law and order situation, what is the industrial development or not, what is about the road constructions.
Daniyal, there's also this voter that we're talking about, the independents now in the field. They can, of course, utilize this anti-status quo sentiment. And then, of course, now with the law, the way it is, the situation, the way it is with the election commission, the party itself being where it is, and then that voter, that independent candidate, if it's a sizable one, even if not, then they will be able to join whichever party they feel is perhaps gaining ground.
I think the next government is definitely going to have a sizable amount of
independence,
but whichever party is the single largest party, they're going to lean towards that. That's my personal opinion.
With that, with utilizing that anti-status quo, sentiment.
Definitely, most certainly.
So there's a very real chance of that also. Abid Sahab, as far as reality is concerned, the situation that we are in now is not what it was, when any of these parties were earlier in power. Let's leave the PDM era. But do you think that there's a reality, they know where we are at this time and how we can actually go towards a better Pakistan, even an old Pakistan, which Mia Saab talks about. He talks about a Pakistan which was, doing much better than where we are at this time.
That was not much better. That was, one of the best situation Pakistan has seen previously. The 100 rupees per litre petrol, less than 100 rupees, dollar was around 100. The situation was so much, the common people were leading a comfortable life. But what Naveed Sahab has said, I pray to God that this happen in Pakistan, that people should vote for the performance of the political parties and the governments. Unfortunately, it's a very least sort of,
What do you think the people are going to vote for?
Sorry?
What do you think the people are going to vote for?
People's vote for so many reasons. Pakistani politics is a very complex phenomenon.
To what percentage do you think it's going to be about your Baradri vote, your clan vote?
That also plays a role. That clan is also play a role. This religious segment is also a very, a non-factor. There are so many sort of liking from the establishment, pro-establishment, anti-establishment stances, pro-Americans and anti-American stances. is. There are so many things, and from province to province, from area to area, the sort of factor that
Of
can
course,
pull
the
the vote.
urban-rural divide is also very
That is
important.
also there, but urban-rural divide in Punjab is a bit different from the urban-rural divide in Sindh. Similarly, Balochistan phenomena is totally different. KP is totally different, and we all know, unfortunately, that the institution of democracy has never been given, complete independence to grow in this country. There are so many pressures. There are so many hidden hands to drive the
But
train
one
of.
thing is important, that the entire responsibility lies with the shoulders of the politicians, because the politicians are the leaders and they lead the masses. And when the leaders
I agree with you for just 50%. 50% burden we can give to the politicians. Rest of the 50% are on the conditions, on the circumstances,
We've talked about-
international phenomena, and so many other things.
We've talked about
If the
the major
politicians,
political
are solely responsible for what we are facing today, what happened when Nawaz Sharif was delivering in this country in 2017? The
Right,
whole
Abid sir,
state,
but-
all elements of the segments of the state, they were used. The media was used. Everybody was used by the then establishment and brought in a politician and the power. I couldn't understand so far that what was the justification for them.
But sir,
What he has delivered.
But sir, one thing is, I think, very important, and that is the vision of the politicians. Politicians are supposed to be very visionary. All the politicians. We don't name any politician.
Right, fair
All the
enough.
politicians.
I want to also move on and let me go to Daniyal on this. Daniyal, there's also, we're talking about the main political parties also, but IPP also, as far as Punjab is concerned, it's a very, very real factor at this time. There is some informal seat adjustment. There is, news about it, but there's no formal seat adjustment as far as IPP is concerned. Of course, then again, the role of the independents with regard to which party they join. IPP is also in the field. There are some electables there. We expect them to get certain seats. How are you looking at that phenomenon?
Before we even come to that, there's another factor, another party that you did not mention, which is TLP.
Ji.
And I personally think that this time
enough.
in Punjab, as far as the undecided voter is concerned, see, the voter of PTI, they're basically fanatics. So, it's very difficult for
The modern fanatics.
Exactly, it's very difficult for a fanatic to make a rational decision. So it's very much likely they might tilt towards Saad Rizvi, especially
fanatics of Islamic touch.
Islamic touch,
Islamic touch
it's
one.
all over the place now. So even PTI used that as a slogan once,
That's
So
what
I
it's
personally,
saying.
I personally think that they're definitely going to tap into this open vote bank, or what we think is an open vote bank. They're definitely
Definitely,
going
they will
to tap
play
So you
important
think there's
role.
going to be a lot of division as far as the seats are concerned? It's going to be a tri-party, two-party kind of situation.
Well, as far as central Punjab is concerned, I personally think that PMLN is going to sweep. And as far as the rest of the country is concerned, yes, there are certain pockets, like Abai Saab said earlier about South Punjab. South Punjab is less about People's Party and it's more about, if you look at the cabinet, the last federal cabinet that they had, People's Party, the Prime Minister was from South Punjab, their Foreign Minister was from South Punjab, there are a few other ministers were from South Punjab. So People's Party has always, unfortunately,
But do you think they've been able to make those kind of inroads in the South this time?
they did in the sense that,
I mean, we saw Jalsa by Bilawal Bhutto Zardari just a few days ago.
In Bahawalpur, yes.
see, unfortunately, after the
In
demise,
Liaqatpur, I think, yes.
after
He was involved.
the Shahadat of Benazir, People's Party has focused on pure power politics. So, because of that, giving employment, giving jobs, other development work, people focused. They did a lot of that. So, because of that, I believe they will be able to gather a few seats from South Punjab.
Daniyal sir, all the political parties and the political leaders, they are in the political arena for the power game. So power politics is for everybody. They are not for the service of the masses. They are for themselves and their political agendas. So if PTI is in the arena, they are also for the political power. And even then, the PTI chairman or former chairman is in jail, but he is still struggling for his political gain, that which he could not.
Aman Sahib, it's very interesting you said this, because the biggest criticism that PMLN has always faced is that they never focused on their politicians. They always, their governors always relied on bureaucracy.
Daniyal sir,
Yes.
every
Macro projects.
politician worked
So-
for that, but this is a different thing. think that one politician can translate the political agenda in a better way, and that is Nawaz Sharif. Yes, he has delivered, or he has translated his agenda.
But that is true that they perhaps rely more on bureaucracy than other.
Well, this is the biggest criticism, and it's to some extent I believe it's true. And coming back to the Nawaz Sharif's issue, will he be able to deliver or not? In this arena, I think he is the most experienced person when it comes to the governing a country, governing Pakistan.
But if you look at what Bilawal Bhutto Zardari is saying, he's saying that choose me because I am not.
No. It is election. No matter what is behind the bar. I mean,
yes,
it
but I'm
is
saying
election.
the politicking, whether you call it politicking, whether you call it campaigning, whatever, his political rhetoric is centered on the fact that I am new, I am relatively new, and I'm not a third time elect or a fourth time elect. So therefore, he's using this very card to his own benefit.
It's very interesting when you say this, and before we were discussing how Shehbaz Sharif is appreciating him as his foreign minister.
Yes.
So I believe this is his political tactics to counter. After this, his words mean nothing. He was part of the government, and he was in a very important position. His party was holding a few of the very important ministries.
And when we talk about charisma that Abid Saab also mentioned, I think overall when we look at, as far as Maryam Nawaz herself is concerned, she is herself a very real phenomena, in the political scene at this time. When we talk about her appeal to the masses and her addresses, and she has also done it for a while now in the absence of her father. So I think that's going to be something when we talk about Bilawal Bhutto Zardari or the young leadership, so to speak. I think that's going to be interesting to watch, as somebody of her caliber or her politics versus what Bilawal Bhutto is saying.
True. These young people are attracting the attention of the people in Punjab. But so to speak, I cannot give a guess the way Daniyal Saab is saying that the PMLN will clean sweep in central Punjab or in the northern Punjab, and in southern Punjab, PP could be able to muster the few seats. What I believe that PMLN is facing a very tough contest from their rival in Punjab, and that is PTI. One thing. Second thing,
even after this, now that independent
I don't
phenomena.
agree, because
this is your opinion. You may have your opinion.
Abid, I will let Naveed Saab answer. You continue.
PTI, some of the people of PTI, they are giving tough contest. For instance, if I can name Yasmin Rashid in Lahore, though they couldn't launch their campaign, this is again a question mark that those people, either they were involved in that 9th May debacle, I would say, or not, but they are having support of the people in northern Punjab. This is a fact. Secondly, there are so many other factors. For instance, Mian Nawaz Sharif has to express the people that he remained out of country for 4 years. He was able to go to Jeddah for performance of Umrah. He was able to go to Dubai to meet Asif Ali Zardari and other political sort of activities, but he was not able to come back to Pakistan. There are all common people.
He's a politician. He knows
common
the
people
time.
do not believe in
The
sort of
timing is
what
very
they are
important for
being
every politician.
fed by the leaders, or the common voters are not only those who are blind followers of
But Abid
political
Saab,
parties.
there's a
There
very
are
real
some-
phenomena. The other leadership of the PMLN stayed back. The other leadership of the PMLN continued its jalsas. The other leadership of the PMLN continued to, answer
But they
the
compare,
allegations.
there is a comparison, because I have earlier said that there are not only one, sort of state or the watertight kind of thing that the voters can be attracted. There are so many
There are so many factors.
Asif
But
Zardari was in jail when he was, the cases were made against him. PTI chairman is in jail. He is not making any sort of, reproachment and any sort of agreement to leave the country. The people are also giving some weightage to this as
Marukh,
well.
if we accept this argument that Abbasi Sahab has just given, that he left the country because of his...
For twice.
Twice. See, when he left the country the first time, he came back to be more popular. Why? Because of his performance, like I said it before. It's very... Nawaz Sharif's politics is not based on sentiment. He's not charging the crowds on sentiment. His politics is based on his performance, his past record.
It's
So
a
having said
relative.
that-
For you, it's a performance. For me, there are so many other segments, factors as well.
But also the former
now
Prime
if we
Minister
go
Nawaz
back-
Sharif Sahib enjoys an immense amount of appeal in the masses. There is no denying that. That's why it was integral that he comes back for this.
As far as your question was concerned,
Another
on the
burden, I'm
charisma-
sorry, then answer one
Sir, please,
sentence.
sir,
Sir.
you.
One another baggage which Nawaz Sharif is carrying, because after just returning to Pakistan, there was a talk of the town that he has made Sadigal Hogi, he has made sort of an agreement, and he is being supported to come into power. The way the judiciary treated him, he was the biometric system
I
was
think the
taken to the
PMLN
plane.
I think the PMLN
This
has
is
answered
also-
these
this is also
allegations,
another
and they
luggage.
continue to answer this every time that I think
Marukh,
Mariam
everybody
speaks.
is giving answers to the
No,
allegations
no,
which
no,
are being
no,
leveled
no,
against
no,
them.
you know,
She has
But
answered.
there is a common perception among the people that PMLN is being supported by the establishment to come into power.
No.
Or there is.
That is the perception.
Who threw PTI to May 9? Who threw? They themselves.
that is- that is
And I
hard
think
to-
that- and I think in the
that's
last
hard to
jalsa,
May 9.
Marukh,
I think in the last jalsa that the PMLN had, one of the things that Mariam Nawaz said when she spoke to the people was that Nawaz Sharif didn't ask the former Prime Minister
that's-
Imran Khan
that's the
I mean,
hard
it was
reality.
Imran Khan himself or
to
PTI
work
himself.
against state institutions. It was not he
Absolutely,
who asked him to
absolutely.
damage himself and his party. It was not him who asked him to conduct intra-party
So
elections in this
what
manner.
What he has done, he has faced the music.
those-
Now he is
So
playing the
obviously
bar.
there are constant answers to that kind of rhetoric being
going
given
going
by
back to
people.
where we started, we were discussing charisma of the young leadership.
Yes, okay.
After Nawaz Sharif coming back into the political arena, I personally feel that Shahbaz Sharif, Mariam Nawaz and Hamza Shahbaz, they're going to go into the shadow.
Mariam Nawaz is very dynamic.
Yes,
in
I don't
Punjab.
think that she's going into the
Yes,
shadow.
no,
actually.
yes, she's very dynamic.
As far as decisions are concerned, Nawaz Sharif is going to be in the
She is leading
front
the
seat.
public jalsa.
Whereas
I think Mia
as far as
Saab
People's
himself, the
Party-
former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif Saab himself,
No, no, I was
is
just-
perhaps has only done one jalsa, whereas she continues to be
She's
very
delivering-
active.
If you allow me, I was
delivering
Age
the-
factor,
I was
health
gonna
factor.
Yeah,
So it's
Ji, I'll
just
let
one
you-
sentence.
I was
Also,
gonna
I'm going to let
some
him-
of the threats are also
Yes.
being in the conversation that the PMLN leadership, some other leadership, they have also been given some threats.
Yes.
Perhaps that's why Mia Saab is not leading the
We
public
don't know,
jalsas.
but that,
When
yes.
I was the statement I gave was in context to People's Party, whereas in People's Party there's a clear divide between Bilawal and Zardari. This was the point I was trying to make, that within PMLN, when it comes to Nawaz Sharif, everyone is on the same page.
But you think it's targeting the voter
Oh,
that was perhaps
definitely. The
disillusioned
leadership.
with the earlier.
The leadership, the second-tier leadership that is supposed to mobilize the voters, is definitely affecting that.
Fair
Yes,
enough.
the-
Unfortunately, that's all the time that we have. Thank you so much for being with us today. Abid Abbasi Saab, thank you for joining us. Daniyal Sheikh, thank you for being with us. Naveed Aman Saab, thank you for joining us today. Overall, of course, as far as the politics at this time is concerned, certainly we don't see that kind of momentum that perhaps earlier elections have shown during the same timeline. But there is certainly things seem to be getting warmer. They seem to be getting heated up between the political opponents. But as far as the PMLN is concerned, they seem to be holding back from the kind of criticism that is being levelled by Bilawal Bhutto Zardari against the PMLN leadership particularly. Of course, as things get closer to the election day, a clearer picture will emerge, but it seems to be the most popular party as far as overall, there seems to be little doubt there at this time as far as the PMLN is concerned. Thank you so much for joining us today on First.